It's grafting day. I'm going to start out by cleaning my tools. I always do this even between cuts. So I'm just going to spray the blades down with about a 10% solution of bleach with water. And I let those drip dry before I do any type of grafting. Alright, my tools are dry now, and I've got everything laid out here. The secateurs, clippers, grafting knife, grafting tape. I usually get the half inch. It's a lot easier to use. Some pieces of rubber band, my bleach, because I'm grafting 3 different varieties today, and in between each one I'm going to clean my tools off. And then some scion wood here. Again, with the scion wood, we're looking for buds, pieces with buds on them. I think today I'm going to cleft graft a bunch of this, which includes most of the scion wood. So right now, I'm going to go size up a piece of original rootstock on my tree because I have to kind of line up. So that. So I've got my scion here, and I'm going to try to graft 2 buds, a piece of wood, and I'm going to kind of line it up and see what's going on here. This is about the same diameter, so looks like a good spot. So now I'm going to come back and graft this before I make a cut. So you can see right here, and there's the 2 buds. I'm going to take it about halfway between that bud or node and the next one, just so I have some wood to graft. There we go. Then come up here. It's grafting wax tape. You got to use parafilm. Don't use the generic stuff. It doesn't work. The only one that works well. And here in the lower desert, I wrap it really good because we are super dry, and while it's colder at night right now, it's still hot during the day. So just come back, wrap this up, and then I'm just going to finish that top portion and break it off. All right. Now that that piece is off, I can size it up. Looks pretty good. So I'm gonna cut this guy right there. See how that goes. Now, try to get it on here. That's pretty almost same diameter. So perfect. So now I'm gonna get the grafting knife out. The hook blade, and I'm gonna just make a V essentially, and I'm gonna do it on the opposite side of the bud, so when it grows out it'll be totally clear of that. So go ahead, whittle it down here. Now you can see I got kind of almost a V. My tape is almost there. You can see this little ring right here along the whole outside. That's the cambium layer there as well. Those are the parts, the contact points that we need to line up with the original tree, and that's what will grow. So now I'm going to take the flat blade of the knife and just make a sectional cut on this part. See how that split almost perfectly? That's exactly what I want. So now I am just going to put in my piece Sometimes I have to use the knife to kind of separate it. Obviously, the bigger the wood, the less likely it is to move. Now I can see how those two layers are lined up pretty well there. I'm gonna check this side too. That one, you can see kind of how it's lined up, so I'm gonna try get it very well lined. I'm gonna take these buds off here, the original tree. They are not needed, and they will actually compete with this graft. I want all the energy of this branch going into this graft, not the original tree. Okay, perfect. So I've got it pretty well lined up on both sides. This one, however, I don't like it turning in like that. I'm gonna try to flip it, get it to turn out, because I want this tree to be fuller. Let's see. That looks amazing on pretty much every side. Okay. You can see how there's space in between just naturally, but if I pinch it closed, then it will touch. We don't need to worry about this. This will fill in on its own. And all those spaces will fill in. Again, we need to make sure that there's that contact between those cambium layers. And for me to kind of get this pinched closed, I'm going to use a rubber band. There we go. All lined up. There's a great contact point right there. You can still kind of move the wood a little bit. For this, I'm going to just cut those ends off of the rubber band. Okay, good there. Now, I'm gonna wrap it up. Right before I do that, I'm just gonna make one more check, make sure we're connected, at least on one of the four sides. Ideally, we get all four to line up, but that's sometimes very difficult to do. So I'm gonna start wrapping at the bottom where the split starts. And this tape takes a little practice to get used to. You kind of pull it as you're wrapping. And when you do that, it kind of sticks to itself. But you do have to do it pretty tight. But again, I want to cover everything. I want to make sure there's no exposed wood anywhere, because any dryness will just kill the graft and it will not take. All right, so I'm just gonna make sure everything is pressed and we're sealed. Nothing is exposed to air, and there we go. So to finish this, normally what I do is I put a bag, just a little bag, over the top so it blocks it from the sun. Right now it's actually almost freezing at night too, so that'll help it from freezing if it does freeze. But this just helps the sun, it helps it from drying out. So I will leave this on for 2 weeks and then pull it. So let me write it down. my writing. You can see I've used these bags a lot for thousands of grafts, but this also helps me identify what I've grafted because I'm going to do 3 different varieties today, so that will help me know what I've done. So there we go, 2 weeks. I'll take a peek at it and see how it looks. Changing varieties now. I'm gonna do a different type of graft too. I'm gonna do a chip bud. But before I do that, I'm gonna clean my knife. My fine Italian secateurs. For chip budding, essentially what I'm gonna do is cut off a bud, very, very thin piece of wood, just almost the cambium layer that contains the bud, and then it's going to go back onto the tree. So to do this, you have to have a really sharp knife and just barely rock it back and forth and attempt not to just dig into this wood. There we go. So you can see there's a very good view of that cambium layer. See that whole outside ring? And then this inner ring, which I got a little bit too deep. I shouldn't have so much inner wood, but that should be okay, especially with an apple or stone fruit. They're very forgiving, so I'm gonna peel some of that off. And for now, I'm just gonna leave that just like that, sitting on the very cold concrete. Actually, I'm gonna put it in my bag with a wet paper towel, let it sit, and then I will go to the main tree and do the corresponding end there. All right, so I'm back to our main tree. I'm gonna get rid of that bud. So what you do here is you kind of do a little 45-degree angle, little notch, and then I'm gonna expose the cambium layer here. Again, I'm barely just shaving bark off. See that nice cambium layer? That's almost perfect. I'll get the bud now on my main branch and just clip that. That was perfect. Okay. Now here's that inner section, and you can see the back end of the bud right here. And hopefully I eyed it up pretty well that to use the other end here, try to just shove that guy down, which I need to expand a little bit more. Back and forth, a lot of trial and error and fitting. Oh, what's hanging me up here? There we go. Oh wow, it's almost perfect, I think. Let's see. I believe. Actually need a little bit more at the top. There we go. That nice little ring of cambium layer there. And that is perfect. Look at that. You got a lot of contact going on. So now I'm going to secure it with grafting tape. I can still a little bit align it. Just like that. I will actually cross. I want to try to cover the bud at as little times as possible as I'm wrapping, just to make sure it'll break free. But again, with the intense sun here and dry temperature, this grafting wax tape will degrade pretty quick. So there we go. And obviously I can't bag this, but it's nice and secure. So what I will do is find a Sharpie and then write on that. And I'm actually going to write on the opposite sun side. And the date. And that's it. So hopefully this bud will start springing to life here at some point and then branch out just like any of the other branches, and then I can put a hang tag on it to identify it.